Hey, if you're a gym owner or a personal trainer and you're not making sales right now, or you're struggling to make sales, or your team is struggling to make sales, I've got 5 reasons why that's happening. And it's probably not what you think it is, at least not what your gut reaction to it would be. What we're talking about with these 5 things is not leads. It's not the number of leads that you have coming in. It's not ads or how much money you're spending on ads. Not at this level. It's not your marketing. It's not your vanity metrics like followers or subscribers or channel views or video views or whatever. It's definitely not your IG reel views. And it's not the time of year, and it's not the economy. Think of all of those different things as essentially a big red herring, right? It's leading you in the wrong direction, and it's wasting countless hours and tons of your money for absolutely no reason. Over the past 7+ years, I have worked with thousands of business owners. 90% of them were gym owners and personal trainers. And in that time, I got a chance to dive into their systems, their day-to-day activities, things they were spending money on and their time on. And it turned out that their lack of sales was not due to any of these things. It was actually due to these other 5 things that I want to talk about in this video. Well, what's going on, you guys? I'm Jeff Burlingame. I am a sales coach, and I have been working in the fitness space, helping people fix their sales problems for the past 7.5 years. And I'd love to help you too. In fact, got a free guide. You can just have it. If you want to take a look at that, click the link in the description below. But for this video, I want to go through these top 5 things that I always see. These are very consistent across the board with all business owners, but especially in the fitness industry. So let's take a look. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're not looking at these 5 things, it's okay. I owned a gym for over 5 years until I decided to move on to coach business owners and try to have a broader impact. In that time, I spent a lot of my time and money on these things that don't actually make as much a difference as I thought they would. Once I shifted my focus to these 5 things, all of a sudden we had exponential results. We grew 250% year over year that first year and continued a steady growth thereafter because of this focus. So number 1 on this list of 5 things that I want you to think about is your audience. You've probably heard somebody say, come up with your ideal audience, your ideal client, who is the right person for you. Here's how I want you to reframe and think about that. This should be what's called an ideal client profile, or an ICP, not the Insane Clown Posse, the actual client profile. So who is this person? What do they do? Where do they go? And when you think about where do they go, you can think about businesses that they frequent. Those are potential connections that you should have. You should be co-branding with those businesses, but that's something we'll have to get into in another video. Needless to say, I like to think of this as trying to become the mayor of your own town. So wherever you're at, draw a 5-mile radius. Look around that area. Where do your clients go? And where should you be connecting with other business owners? But how does this connect to your sales problem? Well, it connects because if you're trying to sell to the wrong person, great example would be, I'm a CrossFit gym owner and I try to find competitors. I want CrossFit Games competitors. That is a very, very small pool of people. So if I'm trying to build an audience around a tiny niche that is not ideal for my business, because you're not going to grow very well just being a competitor's gym, then I am going to struggle with sales. If instead I shifted my focus and we stopped posting pics of coaches shirtless, sweating all over the place, people passed out on the floor after Fran, and people trying to push a ton of weight on a clean and jerk, then I might have a chance to attract a much broader audience that would have an easier impact on my sales. And that audience could include, for example, mothers aged 35 to 45. And then I could drill that down even further. So we could look at gender, age, where do they work, how many kids do they have, are those kids involved in after-school activities? We can really drill this down. And then if you're using a CRM or a client relationship management system, then you can better organize that. And if you're using a CRM like Sales Navigator in LinkedIn, for example, not that you have to, but it's an option out there, you can actually find people by drilling down that search and coming up with those filters or those criteria. But that's more like cold outreach, and it's not actually something you really have to worry about doing. Instead, what this is going to help us do is actually guide our content and our messaging. What do we talk about? What do we post about? What pictures are we sharing? Look at those pictures, look at those posts, and ask yourself, would this attract my ideal client profile, my ICP? And if it would not, then you don't post that. And you can tell because you can look at who's engaging with that content too. Again, I don't care about the number of followers. I don't care about the number of views. I'm looking to get that mom to engage with the content. And if they engage with the content, I'm going to engage back. I'm going to reach back out. We're going to start this conversation that builds into a trust-filled relationship that ideally gets them to eventually come into my business. It's a long-term process, but you're warming up leads. And it's a lot more fun than sending 25 cold DMs a day or more, which most people do, and just getting shut down left and right. So drill down your audience. Who is it? After this video, I would encourage you to do just a little tiny bit of homework here. Just write down who you feel your ICP is. And you can build that off of your favorite clients in the gym or with your online business. So who do you love working with the most? Who are they? Make a profile for them and then find more people like that. Next up, and this is a huge one, your offer probably sucks. And by sucks, I just simply mean it's not irresistible. And I know everybody knows Alex Hormozi and $100 million offers, so I know you're familiar with what a good offer should sound like or the framework around that. So ask yourself, have I done my due diligence on that? Have I looked into how I could make my offer more irresistible? Have I looked into value stacking? Not discounts, not sales, not deals. Nobody falls for that stuff anymore. What we're looking for is how you can add value or stack value to what you're already providing. How can we build this up to be more exciting and more intriguing for your audience, your ideal client profile? So I want to create things that draw in my audience. That's why audience is number one above the offer, because it's going to help you draft that offer. And speaking of value stacking, because this is something a lot of people I feel get confused on, it's actually a lot simpler than you think. You can value stack a deal by simply saying, like, we have this personal training program. Value stack on top of that. With our personal training program, you will have 24/7 messaging access with our trainers, or you'll be provided with our top 10 guides, or you'll be provided with our how to survive vacation workout program, or something like that. Things that you have the knowledge base and experience for, and you could draft up in 5 seconds. So you knock it out. If you need help, there's a lot of AI out there that can really help you like put your thoughts together and add images to it and make it into a nice, clean, easy to follow ebook, PDF, or guide. So I would recommend that. In the past, I've used Canva and Typeset to put together tons of ebooks. If you download my guides, if you go to coachburley.com and you download any of our guides, they were all built in Typeset, super simple. They don't have to be the most gorgeous thing in the world. Trust me. In the past, I've spent hundreds of dollars per guide for other companies that I've worked with, and I've never been that impressed with the results, and it didn't correlate to drawing in more leads. So just get your ideas on paper, and that's fine. You're just getting that knowledge base out there and providing extra value. Beyond the offer, you need to be considering your speed to lead. This might be the number one reason that people miss sales opportunities in business. I don't care what industry you're in, I see this everywhere. So gym owners, personal trainers, like, it's not just you. It's everyone in business, including myself at times. I definitely will misstep and not be fast enough. When you get a lead, when somebody engages with your content, when they send you an email, when they call your gym, when they call your cell, and you don't answer, and they leave a voicemail, hopefully, and you don't follow up with that, or they shoot you a text and you don't follow up with that, or you have a Facebook ad running and a lead comes into the system and you don't immediately reach out to them, you are losing opportunities. I cannot restate this enough. The average time it takes you to connect with a lead absolutely correlates to the sales you are making or missing. So if you are taking 4 hours, 12 hours, a day, a week, a month to respond to that lead, it's now a dead lead. Instead, I would encourage you, and if you can't afford the time, find somebody who can, to contact these leads within the hour or ideally within 10 minutes. Now I know you're on vacation, it's the weekend, it's your kid's birthday, like I don't have time for this. This is why we hire setters. And you can find somebody who you can pay an hourly wage to or a small commission per sale to, and they can do this for you. And if you're not available, you could always hire a VA to do this too. So a virtual assistant is somebody who could be available in your off hours. That way someone's always being engaged with. Yes, you can create automations, but automations are not as powerful as personal or personalized human interaction. And they never will be. So it's simply a safety net that you throw out there and you're like, hey, hope this catches some people that I might miss. And sometimes it does, and that's great. You should also still have personal outreach going on. So speed to lead, do it fast. That brings us to your intro process or your sales process. So when you have a lead, they book a call, they show up, what happens? Are you winging it? Do you have a script? Do you have at least an outline? What's the process that you're following to take a person from a lead to a client? That's the sales process. What questions are you asking? What information are you ideally uncovering? What are you doing? And if you're not sure, that tells me you're winging it, and that's part of the problem. It should be a consistent system that you do every single sales conversation and you never skip a step. I don't care if your potential client sits down in front of you and says, hey, I'm ready to buy, which they almost never do, but if they were to just wave around a credit card and be like, hey, how do I do this thing? You would encourage them to still go through the process. I'd say, hey, Mrs. Jones, I totally appreciate that you are excited to get started with us, and that is awesome. I love to hear it. So here's what we're gonna do so that we can design the best path forward for you so you get the best results. Let's go through, let's set some goals together, and let's break down exactly what it is that you're looking to achieve with us. And then we'll be able to better outline our vision for the future. Fair enough? And Mrs. Jones will say, absolutely, of course, that's great. Because why would they want a less powerful vision for the future? Why would they want to start on a path to I don't know where? We need to set goals first. They're gonna be open to it. So just present that information up front. Let them know, hey, this is part of the process. Because I'll tell you guys, I have had countless appointments myself where I made that mistake of interpreting a buying signal like, hey, I'm ready to get started. And I jumped right to the close. Spent no time on goals, no time uncovering their desire, no time trying to find urgency. And I just went right to, okay, you can join us for this much, or this much. Which one works for you? And they said, it's too expensive. And now I'm dead in the water. What am I gonna do? I haven't built up any value or any trust with them because we haven't had a conversation and I haven't asked them a single question about themselves. We're in trouble. Never, ever, ever in sales, skip steps. And by the way, if you want my exact process, this whole outline for that sales process, I provide that for free on my website. Again, go to coachburley.com, download the guide, it's yours. If you're winging it, get that set up ASAP. And finally, number 5 here, it is a skill issue. Now this is extremely common. A lot of coaches that I've met over the years, they're in the fitness industry for the love of fitness and of trying to create a healthier community. They got into this for good reasons in that way. They didn't get into this to sell. They just realized that once they opened their gym or once they started their online fitness business or their personal training studio, that they had to sell to be successful. And it became this like backseat problem. So the problem with that is if I don't have the skill set, if I'm not practicing constantly how to sell, I'm going to struggle to gain clients. And therefore, I'm going to struggle to get to the point where I get to do what I love, which is coach other people and help them achieve a healthier lifestyle. We don't get to do what we love to do if we don't do the first step, which is take them from a lead to a client, sell, right? We have to sell. The good news is I don't believe in natural born salespeople. Yes, some people are a little more charismatic naturally or a little more outgoing, but I have met many introverted salespeople who are extremely successful. So anyone can do it. That is my true belief. Now with that, you just have to start the practice. So in order to improve a skill, like any other skill in the world, we have to put time into it. We have to invest that time and we have to practice to improve. Now ideally, you get some good practice, which I'd recommend doing sales training with a professional sales coach or somebody who knows what they're talking about. If you're just practicing in the mirror by yourself, recording yourself talking and listening back to it, you're role-playing with your spouse, significant other, friends, etc. If they're not in sales, then you're probably not improving your skill set. You're simply going through the repetitions. And if we practice bad repetitions, then we don't get better. So first and foremost, find a sales coach. That is something that I have been helping people do for the past 7 years. We practice via role play. So I'll put you in a situation, I'll throw you an objection, and then you have to handle it. Or what I like to also practice is your sales process. So we'll practice how to uncover SMART goals, for example. How do I uncover what people actually want? How do I get to the emotion behind those goals? What questions should I ask? What's the cadence that I should ask them in? What tone of voice should I be practicing? How do I better interpret body language? These are all things that we teach. So if you want to learn those, feel free to reach out and we can connect on that. That said, this is a practice that should happen every single week. If you are not constantly sharpening the axe, it becomes dull. So if I want to be a better salesperson, then I have to practice selling on a weekly basis. We're not going to PR our clean and jerk by practicing it once every 2 months. We have to do it weekly. If you don't practice skill-related movements weekly, the skill does not improve because it's not happening in your sleep. You might dream about clean and jerks, but like you're not getting better at them. You have to actually do them in person to improve the skill set. So there you go. Those are my top 5 reasons why you might be struggling to make sales right now. But that's okay, because the good news is you can improve your skill set. You can improve your sales process. You can reach out to leads faster. It's a pretty easy fix. You can improve your offer, also a pretty easy fix. And you can identify your ICP, again, not the insane clown posse, but your ideal client profile. And once you do, sales will happen more easily. You have leads around you. You're in an area where within a 5-mile radius, you could find some leads today if you wanted to. You can draw more leads into your posts if you reach out to the right audience with a good offer. And if you get contacted by somebody and you get back to them right away, you stop losing out on those opportunities. If you have a better sales process, when they actually sit down with you, you are more likely to close the deal. You can increase your closing percentage from wherever it's at to closer to 60 or even 80%, maybe even more. And if you improve the skill set issue, that's where you guarantee that that goes up to that 80% or higher close rate, especially with warm leads coming in. So if you need to work on this, if you need to improve these things, let me know. Hit me up in the comments below, and you can always follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and go to coachburley.com to download our guides for more assistance there. I guarantee that there is something on this list that you could work on right now or that your team could work on right now, and I encourage you to do that because action is how you're going to get results. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe and smash a like on this one, and we'll catch you on the next video.